Where do you live?
In the city.
Do you have a house?
Apartment.
Own or rent?
Rent.
What do you do for a living?
Lots of things.
Where's your office?
I don't have one.
How come?
I don't need one.
Where's your wife?
Don't have one.
How come?
It's a long story.
Do you have kids?
No, I don't.
How come?
It's an even longer story.
Are you my dad's brother?
I'm your dad's brother, all right.
Buck Russell had always been the black sheep of the family.
I'm stunned that I'm related to you.
Until one night.
Buck, we have a problem with the kids. We're stuck for somebody to watch them.
Oh, please, not that.
Can we trust him?
My brother, for God's sake.
I won't let him get into that Satan stuff or any of the new chicks. I'll leave that for me.
Wow.
I'm kidding.
Now, he's making them breakfast,
Cigar?
No thanks.
making them lunch, and making them crazy.
What did you do?
He's irresistible.
And I want to ask you why I'm so attracted to you.
I wouldn't even guess at that.
He's unbelievable.
I'm Anita Horgar.
I'm Buck Melanoma. Molly Russell's ward.
He's John Candy as Uncle Buck.
What does he like to drink? I've been leaving the toilet seats up. Is that what the blue water is? It's not good for him, huh?
Uncle Buck, the new comedy from John Hughes.
You have much more hair on your nose than my dad.
Well, nice of you to notice.
I'm a kid, that's my job.
Coming soon to a theater near you.
Hello, hello. I'm Katie, and this is Retromade, your pop culture rewind. This is season 2, and you are in for an epic ride. John Hughes, Shermer High, and beyond. Today, I have 2 returning guests from last season, Scott and Steve. Thank you for coming back to do this John Hughes season with me on Retromade. Tell us what's new with you guys and your world of podcasting. Yeah.
I'll let my friend over there, the older gentleman from across the pond go first. Go ahead, Steve. Give her a little information.
We're just over halfway through dropping a Bruce. Bruce Willis straight to video or straight to disc, straight to streaming extravaganza.
STDs, as we call them.
The STD, the Bruce Willis STDs.
Love it.
So we're just over halfway through on that, which has been a bit of an ordeal, Scott. I think it's...
Yeah. You know, I think I've said it in a couple places. It's sad because we're watching a hero of both of ours as a kid, grow up. I mean, Steve and I have talked about it on our Men of Action where, whether good or bad, the movies of the 80s kind of informed what male role models and what we thought men were supposed to be. And Bruce Willis as John McClane is probably the biggest example of Stallone's awesome, but Rambo and Schwarzenegger, those guys aren't real. That's like an action figure type of life that only very few can attain. John McClane from Bruce Willis felt like we could actually be John McClane.
Mm-hmm.
And to then, obviously I do Church of Tarantino, then to have him in Pulp Fiction. And now to see, now that he's no longer able to act anymore. And now we're really at the point where we're watching the aphasia really peek through. It is like watching, I know probably some of your listeners or even people, maybe yourself, but dementia sucks for the people who are obviously going through, we have no idea how they feel, but to watch a loved one disappear before your eyes is very tough. And that's kind of like what Steve and I are going through. We're having a good time watching the movies and, having our fun times with it. But at the same time, we're watching our hero disappear before our eyes, like just disappear before our eyes. And it's been a kind of a sad, melancholy kind of trip. I mean,
Yeah,
we're glad we're doing it, but you're kind of like, man, it's like somebody's going to be like, oh my God, it's John McClane at the end. All of a sudden it's like, doo-doo, I've been faking it the whole time. I'm being meta. He's Andy Kaufmaning it, where he's like, it's a whole bit. It's not. It's just Bruce Willis is now kind of gone.
It's bittersweet. It's bittersweet.
Well, and you're only halfway through. I mean, I can't really imagine what the
over,
last
aren't
ones
we?
are going to be like,
Well, if they're anything like where we're in, shit show central is what they are. They are. They've been tough.
We've had a few surprises this currently, but it's been a rough.
Yeah.
It's been
Season 2 was
getting rougher and rougher as it goes, but you never know what you're going to get.
You never know.
You never know. So,
or who's going to be in them. That's the fun part too. It's like, you're like, how did this person? You kind of find like these careers of what I would say like CW stars or the WB or shows over in America. You're like, oh, those guys were popular back in the early 2000s, and now you're like, what did they ever do? They were in Bruce Willis STDs. That's what they were in. They found a new life there.
Super fun. Yeah. Awesome. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And Scott, you said you have Church of Tarantino.
Yep. Church Tarantino's in season 4. Now it's basically a weekly podcast because I've got psychological problems. It's the only way to get through what we're going through, you and I, Katie, here in our country. It's just kind of put your head down and pretend that your little bubble is all that's around you, and you just grin and bear it, white knuckle it. You know what? I'll be honest with you. This is not to be glib. Sometimes right now, I kind of wish I was in Bruce Willis's shoes. He's having a great time. He doesn't know what's going on, and it's probably the best way to live right now.
Ignorance.
I know this sounds terrible.
Yeah, no, it's true. Ignorance is bliss. Yeah.
It is. But yeah, so that's going really well. And then Steve and I we also have the Men of Action, and we are halfway through season 3. But season 2 of the shift to the Men of Action, and we've been having fun with that. So
we're doing a lot of sequels at the moment.
Yeah,
pitching them against each other. That's been surprising as well. I've had some
kind of doing some what you did. So for our February episode, we have 2 Eddie Murphys. We did Another 48 Hours, and we did Beverly Hills Cop 2.
Ooh, that'll be a
we
good
hadn't
one.
seen those in a long time. It's that nostalgia. We've learned that sometimes how we remember the movie, as we'll probably talk about today from Go Buck, and what really happens in the movie are sometimes not the same anymore after 30 plus years of remembering them. So
yeah,
fun journeys. We enjoy it. It's always been about the conversation for us. So we just kind of enjoy busting each other's balls, busting the balls of the people who made these films, and having fun with them. And then people like it. Awesome. If not,
you all should tune in. All their stuff will be in the show notes. So check that out.
You.
So we're going to go back to 1989 for the time capsule.
I wish we could.
Right?
Is this real? Am I being sucked through my computer? Please. We're going to 89.
We are going to go to 89, and I have put a new spin, pun intended, on the time capsule. So let's start by opening it from August 1989. Okay.
Yeah.
This is high tech.
Well, so there's 12 categories in the Retromade time capsule for season 2. So I'm gonna spin on your behalf, you guys.
Thank you.
And see what we come up with here. What did we get? Ooh, it's on the cusp. Stars and Scandals. Stars and Scandals. Okay, their rise was meteoric. Their downfall even swifter. One moment they were winning awards, the next their voices were called into question. A single technical mishap exposed a truth they could never recover from. Who were they?
Milli Vanilli.
All right.
Yes.
All right.
Great if you actually saw Milli Vanilli.
You did not.
I did. My father was in radio, and they came around here in the summer one time, and he had tickets. So, this is before we knew that there was the rumors that they were lip syncing, but at the same time, most pop bands at that time, because they had so many choreographed stuff, a lot of it seemed like they were lip syncing anyways. It was
for a
hard
live
to tell
show,
if you were
especially.
getting, yeah. And so we went to see them, and I think Young MC opened for them.
Young MC opened.
I know. Yes. For Milli Vanilli. Yeah. So yes, I have seen. Here's the thing. Whatever happened to the real people who sang?
I know.
Right? Like the people who sang, the real voices was what won. So the guys pretending to be shouldn't work. But what about the people? I mean, where's the real Milli Vanilli? That's the news special I want to see is what happened to the real people who sang. They should have won all these awards. Were they that ugly? How ugly are the people
Smelly
who
Cat
sang?
from Friends, you guys. Smelly Cat.
Yes.
Yeah. Like when she gets the video. Yeah.
But like I said, where are those people? Those people should be making millions of dollars. They won awards. They had award-winning voices. Are they that ugly and deformed that they can't be seen in public?
Deformed?
That's all I can think of. Like, why? I mean, you've got platinum album selling voices who also, were winning Grammys and all that stuff, and they were selling millions of records. The voices didn't change. Just the people pretending to be them did.
I'm more concerned with the fact that you went to see Milli Vanilli more than anything. I feel like I don't know you anymore.
Listen, I don't know myself either. You know what? I was the first domino that started America's downfall.
Yeah.
Man.
Girl, you know it's true.
Oh.
Blame it on the rain.
Ooh.
They had a look.
Like they have some bangers. They do. They have
Yeah.
some bangers,
Mhm.
whoever they are. They were good. Yeah, they were. That was fun. That was a fun time back then.
All right, you guys. This is the next one.
Oh.
Fad flashback. Okay, so in 89, several fads and cultural phenomena left a lasting impact on society. What movie premiering in June 23rd, 1989, became the highest grossing movie of the year? Its success was a lot of merchandise and kind of ushered in an era of blockbusters.
Batman?
Batman.
Oh yeah, that
Oh.
good one. Yeah, that's right. Batman. Yeah, the Prince as the did the whole album.
Yeah.
I love that album. The Prince has.
Oh,
I got to see Prince. That should balance things out. But he didn't do a single song, and this was like early '90s. Not a single song from the Batman album. He's got some pretty good songs on there. He
I
just
don't
said
think I realized Prince did that album.
the whole album.
All I know is
entire album is him.
I think I know Shaun from Shaun of the Dead did not like that album. Didn't they? They used that to throw at the zombies.
Sean from Shaun of the Dead can go fuck himself. All right. How dare he besmirch the great Prince? All right.
Little Red
No,
Corvette
Bad
came out
Dance?
today.
Yes,
Today.
I saw that.
Yeah.
The dirtiest song
recording.
that ever got
Mhm.
past the FCC.
Mm-hmm.
When you think about the lyrics in that song,
Oh,
sometimes
yeah.
you go, "Holy
What song?
shit.
Little Red Corvette.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah.
83.
I'm aware.
Yeah,
She's got some
February.
Trojans in her. She's got Trojans in her pockets. Some of them used.
Pocket full of horses.
Pickers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, pocket full of horses. Some of them
Pocket
used.
full of horses.
She's got pictures of the jockeys that've been here before.
Mhm,
Shut up.
mhm.
Prince was a genius at writing subtextual lyrics
Mhm.
that people didn't realize. You know, you're like, hey, in the back of the car singing the song. And as I got older, I'm like, oh my God, this is disgusting.
All right, let's see what else we got, you guys. Mm,
Oh,
Totally Tasty from 89. This snack offered a 3-foot-long roll of fruity, chewy candy, providing a playful and tasty treat. There's
the-
two that are very similar.
Is it the fruit roll foot long? Or is that something else? So what I know of is the fruit roll up had the foot long roll out thing.
Fruit by
Or
the
is this
foot.
something? Oh,
It's called Fruit
okay.
by the Foot.
Okay, fruit by the foot.
And then similarly introduced in
You're not missing
89.
out, Steve.
Yeah.
It'll destroy your intestines.
This gum became a favorite among kids for its unique packaging and fun factor. Very similar. What was it called?
Is this Big League Chew?
No, it was like the
Or the
long,
candy cigarettes?
No, the long. It's similar to Fruit by the Foot.
Oh, is that the
But-
bubble tape?
Bubble tape.
Bubble tape by Bubble
Bubble
Yum or
tape.
whatever it was?
Mm-hmm. Bubble tape.
Listen, Steve, we're the king of sugar over here in America.
I know.
All right,
I'm,
let
I'm
me tell you
just,
something,
I'm just
buddy.
a spectator here.
Let me tell you
I'm
something.
I'm not familiar with these, I'm
Do
afraid.
you know what the stars on our flag are made of? Fucking sugar, bitch. That's why it's white.
That's why it's white. All right, let's go. Let's do one more.
You should make a whole episode of just doing each of the 12
These trivia,
questions.
I know. No, we already did fad
Rated fad
flashback. Come on, man.
Unbelievable. It's rigged.
It
Elon
is.
Musk is messing with it. Ooh.
Prime time rewind.
This is perfect because in 1989, I'm a couple years younger than Steve, but I'm 14, 15 years old now. So now, like I'm a little bit older, so I can start staying up a little bit later. I know a little bit more about the TV at this point than I like. If 1983, I'm a little
It was,
kid.
oh yeah, for
still
sure.
don't know enough.
Okay. A patriarch in colorful attire kept his household in check. A sharp-witted matriarch led her working-class brood. A familiar gathering spot thrived on laughter and loyalty. Young minds sought wisdom with historic walls. And everyday blunders became must-see TV. What 5 shows kept audiences hooked in 1989?
The last one is, oh my God, it's AMV, America's Funniest Videos, Funniest
yes.
Home Videos.
Yes.
The Cosby Show in there?
Was the first one, The Cosby Show?
Yeah.
What was the second one? Sorry, I thought you were reading one whole show. So what was the second?
No, sorry. Yeah,
You're
these
good.
were a patriarch in colorful attire. We got that one. A sharp-witted matriarch led her working class brood. Familiar gathering spot thrived on laughter and loyalty. Young minds sought wisdom within historic walls.
The
Roseanne,
third
second one.
Roseanne, yes.
Third one, Cheers.
Yep. There's one
And
more.
the fourth one. Is that I feel like this is a game on
89.
Nickelodeon.
Prime time. No, it's prime time.
Prime time.
remember.
Okay.
Prime time.
So young minds in historic. Jesus.
Hmm.
Is this young Indiana Jones?
No, it is not. Steve, what do you think?
What was the
Young minds, historical, and what was it? Sorry,
Is
what was
it
it?
the,
Again? We're old.
different
Young minds sought wisdom within historic walls. Steve is getting there.
different
tell.
world?
Yes.
That
It was a spin-off from The Cosby Show.
From The
A
Cosby
different
Show.
world.
All right.
Mhm.
Okay.
Hey.
I love that show. That
I
was a
know
great
some
show.
things.
Nice.
You do.
Nice. That
All
was
right.
good. That was
Thanks
good.
for
Ooh, that
playing,
was
guys.
fun.
You did pretty good. You did pretty
We
good.
got to up our game now, Steve. We got to have some kind of game now. All right. Damn it. Season
Yeah,
4.
I like that. I
I
dug
did.
that.
That was fun. Season 4. We're gonna have some games.
Mhm.
We're totally gonna steal from you. I'm just gonna be honest with you.
You might want to trademark that.
We'll give you a little hint. This is from Katie.
I got to tell you,
from the
though,
Retromade.
just it's a lot more work to
yes.
prepare.
Yes.
So I
Yeah,
shot
Steve
myself.
can do it. He can do something around here. God
what,
damn it.
what?
I shot myself in the foot. All right, you guys. This season is John Hughes, so I have
choice.
to ask: at what point did you realize that John Hughes was the mastermind behind so many of these iconic 80s and 90s movies?
Probably mid to late 90s. Because I think, again, I'm not trying to, it feels like in the 90s, we started to realize that there's directors
Mm-hmm.
as opposed, because I feel like a lot of the times in the 90s or the 80s, it was actors that were kind of leading everything. Now, of course, we know Spielberg, right? Like, so Spielberg was like the
Right.
mainstay, but you're also younger. So that's how you know Spielberg. Scorsese, I didn't know who that was until I was in the 90s. Coppola, I learned about these guys because now it's, the auteurs. I think a lot of the Tarantino-esque people with the independence movement in the 90s helped us now to appreciate directors and not just go to movies for Stallone, Schwarzenegger, Willis, because that was kind of how everything was made back in the 80s, at least the adult fare. So I didn't know what, I knew the John Hughes movies. I didn't know it was just John Hughes, right? It's like, Ferris Bueller and all these ones. You don't know that it's him until a certain time. So I think I learned in the early 90s that the movies I liked were from John Hughes, as opposed to knowing when I went to the movie, oh, hey, it's this John Hughes' new movie, that kind of feel.
What about you, Steve? Did you know as a kid?
So
Or
at the time of Uncle Buck, I was 17.
Mhm.
I'm trying to think. I think I was probably aware at that time, but only just, because I think we'd had Ferris Bueller and a few other things, so I'm not trying to be a smarty pants, but I think at that time I was quite aware, I think.
It does make sense. And he had already, by this time, because he was really known for, when you think of John Hughes, a lot of people think of the Brat Pack type movies,
Right.
his earlier teen type movies. And then he transitioned into more like family friendly, fair,
Yeah.
like,
So yeah, Breakfast Club.
Mhm.
I wouldn't have been aware then, but I think by Uncle Buck time, that's 89. Maybe it came out in 89. I might not have seen it in 89. I might have seen it in 1990. So I was like 17, 18. I think by then I would have put the pieces together, so to speak. But that's just, I think
Most
so.
likely a lie, but it's fine. Lie to them.
I didn't know he directed Uncle Buck, to be quite honest with you. I'm just riffing. No,
When you look at some of his stuff, you realize that he actually wrote more than he directed, which is kind of
right.
I think a thing that not a lot of people probably realized is that he's known for a lot, but a lot of it is as a writer.
Yeah.
You just assume he's always been the director of these
Yep.
things. When you're like, oh no, he's actually written. I'm looking at this thing right now. He is the 1980s teen movie. right? Like it's 16 Candles, Breakfast Club, Weird Science, Pretty in Pink, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Some Kind of Wonderful.
Yep.
She's having a baby, and then he starts to move into, as you were saying, Steve, like Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, The Great Outdoors,
Classic.
Uncle Buck we're talking about, National or Christmas Vacation. He writes that, Home Alone. He starts to slowly turn more into that. I mean, some flubber. Like there's several of them I'm like, he did that? Dennis the Menace, like you go, what, he wrote those? So
Yeah, I mean, I was mainly talking about him as a director.
No, I know, but I think a lot of it was sold as John Hughes, right? Like it's sold as like, yeah, he didn't direct it, but can you tell me who the director of some of these are? You're kind of like, no.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? That could be a good game for you. John Hughes, writer or director? Which one? It'd be like,
there's only like a handful that he wrote and directed, of which this is Uncle Buck is. So let's get into Uncle Buck. Released August 16th, 1989. It is PG. Yeah, it's PG. I don't know. We'll talk about that. 7.1 IMDb. And yep, he wrote and directed. If you guys have not seen Uncle Buck in a while, first of all, go watch it, come back. But
yes,
it follows the story of Buck Russell, a carefree, unemployed bachelor who is unexpectedly called upon to babysit his brother's 3 kids when a family emergency arises. Initially seen as irresponsible and out of place, Buck struggles to connect with his teenage niece, Tia, while managing the antics of her younger siblings, Miles and Maisie. Through his unconventional but well-meaning ways, Buck gradually wins them over, proving his loyalty and love for the family. So it's like a kind of a movie trope, but I don't know. Again, in 89, I don't know how much, like Mr. Mom, also written by John Hughes, but there's a lot of movies that followed this similar classic fish out of water kind of a story where there's an unlikely caregiver. But I think maybe was this one of the earlier ones that we watched anyway.
If it's not one of the early ones, it's one of the best ones, that's for sure. And then John Candy. And I mean, I've watched it again today. I haven't probably watched it in probably 3 decades. It's probably been almost that long. I forgot how funny this thing was. Hilarious. Like, I remember watching it today going, why aren't we making more comedies like this? Like, all the comedies we have nowadays kind of suck a lot. And this was, I mean, just brilliant. It was just funny from start to finish. I forgot some of the gags that were in it. I'm sure we'll get into them, but like with the clown, there's just certain things that happen. You're just kind of like, my God, I forgot that happened. Oh my God. And Macaulay Culkin.
Oh my God.
Oh my, this is where anyone who thinks he just, started Home Alone. No. You got to see Uncle Buck. Macaulay Culkin earns Uncle Buck, or earns that through Uncle Buck.
There was so much, it's hard to, because it was the next year. Home Alone was in 1990.
90, yep.
Which we'll cover on this show. But several points, I was like, oh my God, that's so similar. Beat for beat Home Alone stuff, like where he's washing the dishes, where he's like that rapid fire Q&A with John Candy. There was another one too, where he's, I'm a kid, that's my job, or something like that. It was very similar.
He doesn't know the word for balls and he goes, nuts. It's just, oh my God, it was just so funny. I mean, it was so good. I forgot how they were just so much fun. Those movies were just so much fun. And now that you're an adult, and Disney has done this for forever, and my kids are now of an age where they now have realized the adult themed jokes that are slid into kids movies that they have no clue. Like just some of the
washing machine,
washing machine bit, and even in the beginning where they're talking about the word crap and shit. With it's just so much fun is happening in this film that I kind of, it made me really nostalgic for the 80s. I really was like, I miss these kind of movies, and I miss John Candy. I don't think I know a lot of our because I guess he'd be boomer generation. Really, he's not technically Gen X, and everyone always laments about Chris Farley dying too soon. John Candy is a genius comedian. And, oh, wow. I mean, you don't realize how big a hole is left in the universe until you see him again. You go, my God, this man was just, he didn't have to do anything special. Didn't do any pratfalls. He's a big guy. He'd have to fall down and break a chair. You know what I mean? And, play on the fat roll. He just was like, he just had great time.
I mean, every second he's on the screen is just
joy.
Fun and amusing. He doesn't
It's effortless.
Yeah, when he's doing natural things, there's just something about the guy that we all. Yeah, that's a terrible loss, really, because some of my favourites. You know, and he did
John
a
Candy,
couple of
yeah.
And he's in a great outdoor show cover too.
Well, you know, he did
Planes,
a
Trains,
couple
and
of,
Automobiles.
Home Alone.
I mean, that's my favourite. That's
Yeah.
my.
Planes, Trains. So is there a modern equivalent to John Candy, do you guys think? I know Chris Farley, to your point, probably got compared
More
to
of a
him.
pratfall guy. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
think John, that was his big claim to fame, and he was good at it. There's no doubt about it. But I don't know that there's a guy who is as
'Cause
warm and
he-
inviting as a funny man,
Yeah.
right? Like,
I think comedy is suffering right now,
yeah,
though.
I
Right?
Yeah,
would
you're
love
right.
to have an Uncle Buck.
Mhm.
I wish I was an Uncle Buck. You know what I mean? Like, I'm kind of like,
I am Uncle
I
Buck.
want to
Like,
be Uncle
think-
Buck. You know what I mean?
I
want to
am
be
the Uncle Buck.
I've got to be honest with you. When I was watching it today as well, and I hadn't seen it, much like Scott, I probably hadn't. I'll say that's been at least 20 years since I've seen it. But yeah, I think there's comedy is suffering right now, and I don't think there's anyone really like him of his caliber right now. But then I would say that in general, comedy is not in good shape right now.
Maybe
Mhm.
there's not as good a writer as John Hughes either.
Mm,
You know, because they're,
That's
you know, I mean, you know, as you and I will talk about, or I talk about mine, Tarantino and the muses he has. Sometimes you get the best performances out of certain actors, and then they go into another movie, and you're like, Jesus, this person was in the same movie. And when you, I mean, John Candy in and of himself, he doesn't need John Hughes, but when you get a guy who's amazing at writing comedy, and you got a guy who knows how to deliver comedy, and you put them together, you're going to get gold, and you got freaking gold from almost everything John Candy and John Hughes do together.
Agreed.
Yeah.
You know,
I agree. I think it depicted, I hadn't seen it in a while when I watched it yesterday. I forgot how it opened, and it's just a very ordinary family. It depicts family dynamics and like bratty teenagers. And
which
and-
still lands today.
yeah,
Because I went through that with my daughter in the late 2010s. And it's just, I mean, I was like, holy shit, there's my daughter on the fucking screen. Like it's, I mean, you know, I did notice this when she walks down the opening shot of her walking, she's in leggings. That's an outfit that, except for the hat, maybe, that's an outfit that you see kids wearing today, right? It's kind of like, Jesus, this hasn't really aged too poorly because that's
Good
kind of
point.
like what some kids are wearing nowadays.
That's
Although
a good point.
the fun about John Hughes movies is he always has these Chicago suburbs. And I like how the daughter's like, we had to move from Indianapolis because mom and dad couldn't afford things. I'm thinking, you actually moved up because I think mom and dad are making more money. I've been to Indianapolis and the suburbs of Chicago are not cheap.
Agreed.
And you're in this giant fucking house. I'm thinking,
Yeah.
I think you're doing pretty okay there, Tia. I think you better stop being such a bitch. You're
Well,
doing really good.
They also depict the parents are so focused on their jobs that they're
Yeah.
not present. Like,
That's the 1980s,
yeah.
right? Like I was kind of like, that's my parents.
So,
Doesn't even know when the hockey season ended.
oh my God, that's right. I forgot about that. And then I would have loved to get takeout more, but we didn't. Like, we had home cooked meals, God forbid, you know? But they're like making fun of, what a wonderful dinner, mom. Takeout,
Well, I think-
Chinese takeout.
I think seeing it, I think we probably watched it a hell of a lot when we were younger.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Yeah, I do remember.
In
Because I
that-
remember quoting this quite a lot as
in
the,
the sort
as the
of
lines
home-
came back.
in the sort of home video area, I think, and at the age we were all roughly at that time, we probably did rewatch. That's why, I mean, when I hadn't seen it for over 20 years, but I felt like I watched it a week ago. And it was so
Nice.
familiar. I was waiting for all the moments that
Mm-hmm.
I remember. I knew they were coming, you know, because that's sort of ingrained in my mind. So we must have seen these films a lot when we were younger. So, but yeah, John Candy, though. I mean, like I say, every minute he's on screen, he's just gold.
He really is. And he's one of those guys, he seems like a genuinely nice person too, you know, not no
Mhm.
scandals or anything.
Yeah, I've never heard anything to the contrary. You know what I mean? You
Mhm.
never hear anything like, oh, Jesus, what a drunk or what a
Mhm.
pederast he was. You know, it's John Candy.
John Candy.
One of Canada's great exports.
Ooh, yeah. Wow. Oh, don't I was just
There's
never
no
mind.
tariff on
Yeah.
him.
So he plays Buck Russell. Let's talk about some of the other cast. So the teenager, Tia, so she's a bratty teenager, and she's really who he, for the most part of the movie, is really butting heads with Tia, played by Jean Louisa Kelly. And did you guys recognize her from anything else? Like, she wasn't in a lot. I don't
I
think.
know she's been in some things. I couldn't place her because the movie I know her definitely from is obviously Uncle Buck. You know, I mean, I know she's one of those kids, like even her boyfriend Bug in there. I know I've seen him before in some 80s movies, but if you put him in a lineup, I couldn't tell you which one, you know, so.
It's funny because she also, aside from this, she's most known for playing the mom named Kim in the TV series Yes, Dear. Like, I want to say early, mid 2000s. And so now I was trying to look for it yesterday when I rewatched it. So that's who she is. Maisie, the daughter, like this, so the teenage daughter, Tia, is like 15. And then Maisie is 6, and she's played by Gabby Hoffman. And she has gone on to play quite a few things, but she was also in Field of Dreams, Now and Then, 200 Cigarettes, and a couple of TV series, Girls and Transparent. She's in a number of other things, but she has gone on to have a fairly well-known career. And then Macaulay Culkin, obviously, is like the 8-year-old.
Who's this guy? I don't remember him.
He plays Miles.
Is he related to Kieran? Is he
Yeah. I think it's his brother.
All right.
Yeah.
Quintessential 80s, 90s kid is
I
Macaulay.
can't stand him.
Really?
Are you being serious, Steve?
Like as an adult or as a kid actor?
I just hate him. I just
Wow.
don't like him. My heart, do you know what?
Are you
I'll be
mad
honest
because he got to hang out with Michael Jackson and you didn't? Is that what this is? Is there some selfishness?
I'm certainly not. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I've just,
Really?
do you know what? I actually, one thing I didn't remember about this movie was that he was in it.
Really? I
Interesting.
love him.
And as soon as I saw him, I was like, oh no.
You're like, crap.
No.
But
Now we know why Steve
you
doesn't
know,
have kids. Macaulay Culkin. That was it.
Yeah.
It's funny
I loved
because
him in this. Yeah.
I noted, I do not, I also don't have kids, and just generally they kind of annoy me, but
I teach him.
oh my God, I don't, bless you, Scott. I don't know how you do it.
I don't know either. I must be on some kind of drugs I don't know what I'm taking.
What age kids do you teach?
Fucking middle school. 12 to
Ooh,
15.
the
Yeah.
worst.
It is. It really is. It's tough. It's a tough go. But
Oh,
that's why I have no hair. I mean, I knew early on. I was like, I'm not going to need this. This will do me no good.
I think it's an 80s thing. And again, I always feel like the cranky old lady that is like, oh, things were better in my day. But like the kids in this, I actually noted, because I am largely annoyed by children in movies and TV, generally, and in the world. But they were good. I was not annoyed at all by these kids.
I thought the two younger, I thought John Candy and the two youngest ones, their interactions, I thought were just really, really great. I mean, you know, it's sometimes you get some kids in movies, and like you said, you're like dragging planks of wood. You're like, why is this kid even in this fucking movie? Who do they know to get him in this film? Especially when it's not a kid's movie.
Right.
Steve hates this movie, but like The Goonies, that's a kid's movie, and so these kid actors are acting together, so that might be easier for them. But when you've got John Candy, and then you've got two nobodies,
right,
and they're a guy to act with him, I thought
they were really good.
The
I
back and
liked the
forth
kids.
with Candy
Yeah.
and Macaulay Culkin at the table. You know, would you live in a house? No, apartment. Would you have a job? You go the back and forth. Are you really my dad's brother? You got more hair. It's just kind of like the rapid fire was really a fun thing. And then the little girl with her sister when she first comes in, you said a bad word. Crap. No, it's shit. You know, the whole back and forth with them. I thought they were really good. Steve probably hates them, but you know, he hates everybody, so it's okay.
No, I don't know what it is. I just don't like that kid. And
that's fair.
Having said that, I mean, he's fine. He's good at what he does. Don't get me. There's just something about him.
He's
just
not for you.
Not for me.
What did you think of Shanice, who plays John Candy's girlfriend? Or I mean, Shanice is the character's name.
Yeah.
Played
Who
by.
has she been in? I've seen her before.
She's been. She feels like. I feel like she's been in everything.
She's like one of those
such a familiar
80s faces.
face.
Yeah, she's one of those 80s. Just hey, that's that person again.
Amy Madigan is her name, and she's I believe an Irish. I mean, her last name is Irish, but I think she's like from Ireland.
Okay.
She was also in Field of Dreams.
Yeah, she's been in a hell of a lot.
She was his wife.
And then also Gone Baby Gone, like that really Irish neighborhood.
Okay, yeah.
And she was nominated for an Oscar. I haven't seen this, but she was nominated for her supporting role in Twice in a Lifetime in 1986. And do you know who she's married to? very famous actor, and they've been married since 1983. And I did not know this. This makes me love them.
I do
even
not
more.
know.
It's not Kevin Costner.
No,
Let's see. Is it Gene Hackman?
no.
He just turned 95 the other day.
No. It's somebody her age range.
Dan Aykroyd. I don't know. I'm just going to start pulling some names from the 80s out.
Ed Harris, who I dig. I love Ed Harris.
Oh, Ed Harris,
no
yeah.
shit.
Yeah, they've been
Ed
married since
Harris.
1983. Isn't that
He's
cute?
also in Gone Baby Gone.
Yes.
Oh, is he one of the police officers?
Yes, he
Yeah.
is. He's one of the people. Yeah. I don't
Oh.
give away for those who haven't seen it. 20.
Good. I really like that
It
movie.
is.
It's a great movie.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was
And
one of Ben
then-
Affleck's first directorial debuts, if I'm not mistaken.
That was his
Yeah, that would
first,
track.
I
Yeah.
And I like Casey
Great.
Affleck more than
Yeah,
that.
he's had some off the field issues,
Yeah.
but we like Steve and I like to separate. Steve and I
Does
like to
he?
separate.
Casey.
When
does
that Me
he-
Too movie came out, he got a few things. But
Oh,
Steve and I like
really?
to, we separate. We separate.
Okay.
Listen, I know Michael Jackson has done some terrible things. I know he has.
There's levels to this
I love
stuff,
his
though.
music.
There
though,
is.
but I love his music. So I don't want to have any. He's dead. He's long gone. But and what he did is horrible. But his music is still. It's still
Yeah,
really
I
good.
know,
Tom
I
Cruise,
know. But
great actor.
Casey
Fucking
Affleck, I mean,
nut
Manchester by the Sea is just
Great.
Yep.
Yep.
Mhm.
An
Mhm.
amazing film. He's done some good stuff. He's good. He's
Speaking
actually
of the
great
Super
in Gone
Bowl,
Baby Gone.
Tonight, he and Ben Affleck will be in the new Dunkin' commercial. I know Steve doesn't care, but they've already talked about it, so that looks
Of
pretty
course.
funny.
I
Yeah.
did like his spoof.
Oh, on SNL, the Dunkin'
Oh,
one?
that was great. Vanilla. What was
Brilliant.
it? Vanilla nuts. Vanilla nut taps. I know
Brilliant.
some things.
Steve, I know something.
It's
the
just,
throat.
I know tangents all over the place of us. We're a nightmare.
I like a tangent, but getting back from the
Yes.
tangent.
Back to Uncle Buck,
um,
not the Affleck brothers.
So the parents in this didn't look familiar to me, really.
Me neither.
The only
But it's-
person who looked familiar was the brother, the one with the curly hair. He'd been like a father in another movie or two. He looked familiar. I couldn't tell you his name.
Buck's
but
brother.
The mother not,
yeah.
but Buck's brother had been in some things I know in the 80s. I just can't place him.
Yeah, his name is Garrett M. Brown, and he did a lot of TV work. So he was in Roswell Sisters, Trouble. I don't know what that is. And then the movies Kick-Ass and Kick-Ass 2. And then the wife.
He was in Kick-Ass, really?
I've not
Huh.
seen, so I don't know. Elaine Bromka plays Cindy, the mom. She also she's more known for a lot of her TV work, most notably playing Dr. Riker on Days of Our Lives. That's who she is.
Mm.
And then one of my
Probably knows
favorite
her.
actresses, I adore Laurie Metcalf. She plays their eccentric
Unhinged
nosy
neighbor.
She's from Roseanne. She's
Yes, she is.
Roseanne's sister, right? Isn't
Yeah,
it?
Jackie.
Yeah,
Aunt Jackie
yeah,
is,
yeah.
that's her most
She
famous
is so
role.
She is
good.
great in
She's
this.
so good.
I love her. This was one of her first movie roles.
Oh,
I was reading.
she
John,
kills it.
Yeah. Her name in the movie is Marcy Dahlgren
Marcy.
Frost, and I loved the little Frost is my married name, but we got divorced. But I kept the hyphen. Everyone loves the hyphen.
Yeah, I like when he says I haven't dropped the frost, and he's kind of looking at her because she's kind of frosty when she first comes. He's kind of like, oh, it seems to track.
Oh my God, she was awesome in this. I loved her outfits. I was like, I would wear those. She had some great outfits in this movie.
The fashion, it's weird, things, as I say, things come around,
Mm-hmm.
but some of the fashion still stays on point a little bit. I think we've kind of made the circle back around,
Yeah,
Because
it
now
happens.
90s
the
is
cars
like-
and certain things
yeah.
would definitely give off, but you could tell
Mhm.
some of this as a modern day movie and be hard for some people to tell up, right off the
That's
bat.
a good point. And then you had mentioned, you're like, I've seen Bug, Tia's boyfriend, in things before. He's played by Jay Underwood, and he's most known for The Boy Who Could Fly.
Oh, okay. All right.
And apparently, you guys will think this is funny. I did anyway.
Well.
He's not an actor anymore, I don't think. He is a megachurch pastor.
Tracks.
That's
He has
what
a
he
mega
does.
church pastor face. He may
He
be on the same track
does!
as Michael Jordan or Michael Jackson, not Jordan.
He does have a megachurch pastor
He
face.
has that. Yeah, we'll just leave it there.
Mhm.
So to go sidetrack anymore.
Yep. And then just getting through the stats here, the music was done by Ira Newborn,
Mm.
which I had not heard that name before, but apparently he collabs quite often with John Hughes. And so he did a lot of songs for movies like 16 Candles, Weird Science, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. And then some very 90s movies, Mallrats and Ace Ventura: Pet Detective.
I love Mallrats. And Ace Ventura: Pet Detective.
Same.
I really enjoyed the music. It really worked. This R&B blues infused thing he was doing, I really enjoyed it. You know, Uncle Buck has this like little tom drum thing that almost like Young MC, that boom, doom, 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 and it just, I don't know, worked. It worked really well.
Yeah, it was the Wild
as
Thing,
his,
wasn't
like,
it?
thing. Yeah, it kind of
was
was the Wild
Tone
Thing.
Loc, yeah. Actually, there's some of the old songs. I mean, being someone who I kind of grew up really into hip hop, and there's quite a lot of songs in the movie. I'm like, that's a sample from this song. That's a sample from that. That's
You're
quite
right.
sort of, but in 89, that was pretty sort of on. He's pretty on track with some decent stuff. I was thinking that while I was watching it today. I was like, oh, I recognise a lot of these songs that have now been sampled. You know,
Yeah,
and then
soundtrack.
the Tone Loc thing was.
Yeah. Yep. $15 million to make this movie, and it grossed nearly $80 million worldwide.
1989 for a comedy. That's really good.
Not bad.
Mhm.
Yeah.
In the summertime too. Think about that, 'cause it came out in August.
Yeah.
So usually, I mean, we're summertime, American cinemas. I mean, the world now, but it's tentpole season, especially in the 80s.
Yeah, I was trying to
Right,
remember.
we're setting up, we're sending out, whatever the new Schwarzenegger, whatever movie's supposed to be coming out that time frame before the superhero takeover we've had.
Yeah, I was trying to.
So for it to go just $80 million.
Yeah, I was trying to remember I can't even remember that hitting cinemas here personally, but I'm going back a long way, so I don't know if it was
I can understand
if it was straight
why.
to video. Here is what I'm thinking it might have been.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not.
Yeah.
If it, sometimes I talk about this with Scott, where I live in quite a small town. I don't live in London. We don't all live. We're not all.
I'm
London.
aware of this.
He's got 12 people and 37 sheep in his town. It's really tiny.
It's not far from the truth, but sometimes I'm like, certain things don't make it to my neck of the woods. So, and I can't really remember if that hit theaters here.
Plus,
When
it
I
makes
say
sense. I mean,
here-
what a suburban movie about, Chicago family
Yeah.
drama. You don't really land in England. Like, what a movie from your neck
Yeah,
of
I'm
the
sure
woods
maybe
drama hit us.
maybe in the cities it was maybe on for a week or two, but I don't remember it.
I grew up in a small town too, in Nebraska. So like
Wow.
middle of the country. So by the time things got to me, it was years
A decade had
later.
passed.
Okay, no, you can relate then.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, sometimes I mention things and people are like, "What? Really? It didn't?" And I'm like, "Yeah, maybe in London, but we're not all from London."
That's like when I say I'm from New York, everyone assumes city.
Right.
They just assume I'm dropping
yeah.
a city and just, I'm from New York. City, what about? There's more than just
not
New
the
York
same.
City.
It's not the same thing.
Mhm.
But yeah, I was trying to think. I couldn't remember if that hit theaters here. But yeah, that's still not bad. 80 mil.
1989, like I said, in the summertime.
Yeah.
And it's a family comedy.
Well,
right?
you
Like
go-
the PG movies. Usually,
Well, so you go with inflation. That's probably a few hundred million, probably. I guess.
I mean, in American inflation right now, it's like $3 billion. I think they would have made.
Couple of
Eggs are
what's the eggs?
$19.
Yeah.
All
I was
right,
like,
I'm
a
just
couple
saying,
of
if
dozen
eggs are
eggs.
25 cents, this movie
I've only been hearing about this today. I've only been hearing about the egg thing.
$2 billion in today's
I've only
time.
been hearing about the egg thing today. I don't really know what the deal
Oh,
is there.
fuck, don't worry. Just be glad you're in England.
Are
Be
you
glad
being
that-
serious, Steve?
Be glad you cut, because they have better news than us. He's
I,
glad
only
they're
heard-
glad.
I don't know what
You
the
have
egg thing
actual
is. I actually only heard about it today, so I don't
It's like
really
a
know.
joke at this point. Oh, price of eggs.
Basically, the smart people with the red hats voted for the hot dog skinned guy because she was going to bring down the price of eggs. And they've actually gone through the roof in this 3 weeks. So
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know what?
racism is costly.
It
and
is.
America's finding that out the hard way.
Oh, man,
You know what
I
else
found
you
up a
guys-
can of eggs here.
Eggs in a can might be a smart thing if you got that. So, no,
You can just buy just egg. Or tofu. You don't need eggs.
you don't.
Anyway. I always notice the fashion because I already brought up Laurie Metcalf's outfits. Did you notice Uncle Buck's? This is the first time I've really noticed it. His rings.
Yes. He had like
On-
the big old class rings and stuff.
Mm-hmm. And like
I
a
did.
horseshoe.
Yes.
'Cause
The
he's a
old
degenerate.
Elvis. The old Elvis horseshoe.
Mm-hmm.
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 Just-
a couple
There's
of
just so much the attention to detail that they have on these films, especially, even whether he's the writer or director. It's, I don't know. You just don't realize it until you go back and watch it again.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I think it's what
Little-
informs now that Steve and I are on the Bruce Willis STD journey,
Hmm.
you can instantly find a movie that's just direct to video. No one gave a shit about it because it's missing all the accoutrements that come with a really great designed film. From the plate, the china plates, the way they have everything hanging over the sink, over the stoves, just every little thing, the way he dresses, the stuff they do, everything has a place and it means something. Like when Marcy comes over or when she first comes to the door, the toys on the stairs going up.
Yes.
There's just this
It's
thing that
a
says
normal-
that one, mom and dad are gone. Uncle Buck is there and he's not exactly a clean freak. And so you could start to see the home flip into this decay of like just clutter. And that is really smart. Most, crappy shoots wouldn't even think about that. It would just be like this real clean, sterile environment. And they'd walk in and you'd be like, oh, this feels like a play at a high school. And
At a high school.
it's just this, there's just,
No,
even
the
when she's
little
talking with them,
touches.
there's little crumbs on the
Mhm.
counter from him not cleaning up after breakfast. There's just these little touches that as you watch it more, you start to see the real craftsmanship and why these kind of movies last the test of time. And you just are like, they just feel like a warm blanket sometimes. Cause it reminds me of like, when I watch it today, I felt like I was back in the 80s. Like I felt like my parents, like I was in my living room watching this on a VHS. Like it just felt like a Sunday morning in the 1980s. And this is what I was going to watch. And just, I don't know, it was a nice, what we're going through. It's a nice warm blanket to kind of forget about for
It
about 2
was.
hours. It
And
really was.
You brought back to that, like Chicago suburbs, the house. Like, it's very comforting. It's like you're in this world now. You're in the John Hughes world, and it's
Yep.
As someone who's on a diet at the moment, they're
Again?
massive pancakes. They look good.
Oh my God!
I forgot that he uses the snow shovel. I forgot
Shovel.
he flips with the
Well,
snow
what was the
shovel.
griddle? What I couldn't. What
I don't know
what
what
did he use for the
I-
griddle part?
That's the fun thing. Is like Blackstone thinks they've got it. The market made. Uncle Buck was first. God damn it! I don't know where he got this griddle. The griddle took up the island. I don't know.
It did.
I don't know what that was. Was it a car door
Amazing.
or something?
I didn't recall. I remember that scene that he
Yeah.
flips a pancake and with the shovel and the gag of that. But then I totally forgot that there was an entire giant stack
Yeah,
of
yeah.
pancakes on the table. That was awesome.
It's just so.
I
And
was just
like
oh man,
sausages for days,
Yeah.
on the
I
table.
mean, the amount of eggs.
The amount
must
of
use some
the
pancakes,
eggs.
guys.
Oh my God! And today's prices are $3 billion.
Sorry, guys. I didn't mean to upset you.
There's thousands of dollars in groceries right there. Oh my God!
I loved the tiny urinals.
I
at
was
the
going to say
school?
when he takes a knee. I forgot.
He's like,
And the
how am
funny
I going to
thing
do this?
is nowadays, if a grown man walked into a little kid's bathroom, what a fucking alarm bell would go up. But he's kind of like looks down, sees little feet dangling. He's like, I use the bathroom. He doesn't know where to put his cigar. It's just,
Was that urinal thing really an issue though? Couldn't he just?
he's in an elementary school, so they're
No,
all.
but you just.
He's a
aim.
big guy. What is he? 6'4", 350? Like
It would spray all
here's the
over, I
thing.
guess.
It
Yeah,
was
I
just a
don't know.
great gag, right?
It was
It's
a good
No,
gag
no,
to
I get the
have your
gag. I
knee
was
up.
just a bit like,
Yeah.
wait a minute, can't you just
Aim.
go? Aim.
True.
Use the sink like a real man.
Yeah, take a shit in the sink like a normal person would. Come on.
Jesus, what is this?
Do schools have tiny unit? I've never been in a boys.
Yes, if
Do
you're
schools have little tiny urinals?
especially like when they have kindergarten, like they do have lower because they can't. You're gonna clean pee off the floor.
I didn't
little
even know
boys
if
aren't
they had
making higher
urinals,
urinals.
or if they the stall, like the toilet stall.
So some of the schools around where I'm at, they had
That's
like, a
what
little
you use for the
bathroom
griddle.
inside. That's it. Is the bathroom inside the classroom, but they have little tiny toilets.
Oh,
So it's
okay.
still at their height because again,
Mhm.
you're gonna be cleaning pee for days or poop. I mean, it's just these kids can't get an inch up onto the seat. You're in trouble. You're gonna
Yeah.
have a lot of janitors coming in every 5 minutes. Johnny, just use a urinal again. Looks like Niagara Falls broke in there.
Aw.
Speaking of that, I love when they're on the phone or he's talking to us. They have a few questions. How's your plumbing there? Do you have a blunt shirt? She's just like, oh God.
I also
Because I
forgot-
got a lot-
I
he's
think
like
that's
a lot of
before they've even
cheese.
left. I
Yeah.
think he says that before they've even left.
It's like I eat a
You're
lot
right.
of cheese. I don't know. Is that an allergy? Is that
I
an
forgot about
allergy?
that. Oh my God, I can't believe I have to leave my children with you.
Oh, that's what the blue water's for.
Oh my God.
With
Even
the
the-
dog.
And she's
Oh my
crying.
God.
I'm so glad you're there with them.
Oh, that
Leaving
I
the
was
toilet
like,
seat up with the dog.
I love the fact that how they decide to to do the whole interchange where he asks, how many times you feed a dog, and she could have just said it. But the best part is when she goes, "How many times do you think you're supposed to feed a dog?" I just love it's just a great way of how you just change your dialogue to add for the comedy, right? Because we know that as when he asks it, we already know he's overfeeding the dog. We all know that's what it's leading to. But her then having him tell her how much he thinks she should feed the dog is where we get the fun. It's like 4 times
a day?
It's just one. Oh, that'll explain it. And it's like the pee in the lawn,
which is funny.
Water, it's so good.
It's also a time because I have a feeling, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I think most people feed their dogs twice a day at least now.
I think
but in
they
the
say that
80s,
you're supposed to feed your dog when you eat. I think that like some experts say, like so if your dog's on a schedule and you sit down to eat, the dog eats. That's why there's no begging at the table. When you're done, then the dog learns that okay, now they're done, kind of thing. So you the 2 times would be right: breakfast, dinner, and then people could stay home. I guess 3 times,
but that in the 80s, I feel like it was really normal. You fed your dog once a day. You just put food in the bowl, and I think that was the dog was cute. Also, with him sleeping with the kids and from the bed to the floor, everybody, including the dog, ends up like on him. Cute stuff.
He's a great uncle. Like he may not know anything about kids, but like he is really his streetwise is really kind of what these kids need. Like he's look, he's doing the great thing where he's making Macaulay Culkin wash the dishes, and just put hair in your chest kind of thing. That kind of mentality. But at the end of the day, he really is building. He's more involved with them than their own parents have been.
Oh, 100%.
And I think that's what really ends up, and eventually what finally brings Tia around, because she's just angry that they left Indianapolis. She's just pissed that at her age she has to start over. But yet she's also learned how to take care of her brothers and sisters. Which it's funny. It almost feels like Tia was the oops child. The other two were the ones they planned. Like it was like Tia, we just made it out of high school.
She's why they got married. She's why they got married.
Exactly. The other two were like, hey, let's have kids.
Yeah. That's a really good point.
Because she's like, what, a junior in high school, whatever it is? And these kids are like
15,
kindergarten or first grade. You're like, boy.
Several years later. He is good with them. I noticed that too, because I related to Buck because I'm kind of the crazy aunt like Buck. Oh, I'm hungover today, but I made it to your game or whatever.
Goes kid play with some scissors. Go run around.
But I wouldn't be as good as Buck. Like he's so good at relating to them because he's kind of a big kid himself, I suppose. But
exactly.
I'm the same. I think I'm a bit like that.
Yeah. And John Candy's great at
I'm a bit like, look, I get shit done, I may not do it
may not do with pants on, but it gets done, goddammit.
Hey, no, but I get stuff.
Excuse me, sir, do you have to mow your lawn without pants? Listen. All right, I'm sweating.
There's balls out here.
My balls are sweating. No idea, lady. I mean, my nuts. Sorry, what sidetrack you?
Crap.
No, I think John Candy, I don't know, he just feels like that every man that you would look. We're supposed to believe he's inept to be able to watch these kids, but he's the perfect person. He's the perfect person to raise. He's like the original. What's the one with Robin Williams? He pretends to be the nanny. Why am I blanking? Miss Doubtfire. He's like the Mr. Doubtfire. It's like, hey, I'm just going to do this. I don't know if this is the right way to do it, but we're going to do it. Him, he's making him breakfast. For this kid's birthday, they don't even know when his birthday is, what he wants. I guess getting them sticks. Not like, Jesus Christ, that boy out of your ass. He's making more pancakes than anyone in the neighborhood could eat. And you're just kind of like, man, what a fucking awesome uncle.
I did kind of like the drying the clothes in the microwave.
Fancy. Because as the girl goes,
he can't figure out
open the goddamn dryer. Bless him. Here's a quarter. Why don't you go down to the corner still get a retinol that thing off your face?
Oh, fuck melanoma.
No, because I forgot about that. Yeah.
No, when I said that to you, I was like, that is from that, right?
Yeah.
Because if it wasn't, you'd have been like, what the hell is he talking about?
I have no proof, but I feel like the mole thing from this movie is what led to the joke of the mole on Fred Savage's face in the Austin Powers movies, where he just can't stop saying mole. I feel like this was the genesis from it. Like, I just really do, because one of the most memorable scenes is him flipping that quarter to her and telling her to get it gnawed off her face.
Yeah.
I just feel
But
like that was the
sort of thing-
genesis of that joke.
That's like the thing in the Steve Martin movie Roxanne as well, where they're like, don't look at his nose, you
Mhm.
know, and then
Mhm.
you can't not look at his nose,
Yeah.
sort of thing. That's the same sort of that sort of joke. But yeah, when I said that to you, because I hadn't seen the movie for like over 20 years, that was the first thing I thought of when you said Uncle Buck was Buck melanoma. I
I had
thought,
completely forgotten about it.
yeah, but that's a great scene though as well,
Mhm.
talking about what a great uncle he is and what a sort of good provider he really is, and his character. That says a lot about his character when he stands up to the teacher and gives his little speech about her being a dreamer and all that.
And then
You know,
what he
she's like,
does
she's
for
six.
Tia's boyfriend.
Well, yeah,
Oh.
but when he says like she's 6, you know,
Yeah,
it's like, of course she's a dreamer, of course she's a chatty little girl. She's 6,
I know.
you know. So
There's that type of scene in a lot of this kind of a movie, like the unprepared child carer has to come
Yeah.
in and then they stand up to some, with
authority
a shitty teacher.
figure,
Yeah. But yeah, he got called in about a 6-year-old not taking her school career seriously. He's
Yeah.
like, she's 6.
yeah.
I love it.
Like
Yeah.
he tells a little kid, though, I'll go in there and soften her up for you.
And you can hear everything.
Yeah, he's just sat there.
And Scott, you were going to bring up what he does to Tia's boyfriend. I mean, now,
Oh.
granted, that would probably land him in jail, right? Like,
Maybe,
that
but
really
you know
happened.
what? What parent is going to disagree with that, right? Like, what a dick. What a douche. It kind of taught him a lesson kind of thing,
Mhm.
He knew, look, it's funny, when we're in that age group, right? When we are teenagers, we know exactly how we're thinking. Then when we get older, that's like when we become protective. Look, I know what the wolf is like. I was the wolf. I know how to watch out for this. You know what I mean? You need to watch out who this kind of person is. And, Tia's always going to fight it because she is pissed off. And rightfully so. I get it. Especially for girls. You go through a lot in that 10-year period of like anywhere from 12 to 25, that's or 13-year period, I should say. It's a tough go. It's you start to go to battle with each other over boys and who looks good, and you have so much more pressure put on you in those ages as you're developing, not only physically but mentally. Like most boys just like just let's throw rocks at each other.
Dick jokes.
And throw rocks at each other.
Yeah,
Like we haven't matured. Look at Steve and I, we're 50. So
We're still doing it now.
we're still doing it now. So to then have to move across country and also be responsible to, not really across country, it's only a couple hours away, but to then be responsible for your brothers and sisters. But also, I think listeners should remember, no cell phones, no internet. Phone is all you knew each other. And once you moved out of town, you were pretty much forgotten about because someone else new came around. Like you weren't calling long distance to talk for hours in the 80s. You out of your mind how long that much that cost? So for her to have to go through all this and then feel this disconnect that her parents have kind of not only forgot about her, but are now forgetting about the brothers and sister, and so Tia's obviously going to push, but Buck steps up for her because he's a good guy. He's the funny thing about the whole movie is we open up with him. I'm not ready to be a father. I like my own life. I don't think I'd be good with kids. And he completely proves that, no, you are the one person in the movie who probably should have kids because you actually have a pretty good rapport with them and also a good idea what it is to bring them up and be there for them. And I think that's what makes the movie so endearing.
Yeah, and I
then
like
when
that
he stands
moment.
up for her, it's great.
I like that little moment when he was on his own with the dog and he's smoking a cigar and he's sort of talking about what people used to say about him having the freedom and being a fun guy and all this, and now they don't say it anymore, and sort of like he's something a bit touching to that.
He's realizing.
Yeah, I mean, how old is the oldest daughter supposed to be in it, by the
15.
way?
15. And he's 40, I think he says. He just
Yeah,
turned
so
40.
So I think obviously she's in that every kid that age is in that thing, especially having two brother and sister are a lot younger. Is on one hand you're supposed to be looking after them, but then your parents are treating you like a kid as well. So she's got that angst, that teenage angst thing going on, and so I think Buck kind of he knows. He pretty much reads the signals.
He does.
He knows what's going on. Straight
Well,
away.
and you can get pregnant on your parents' time, but when I'm here, or something to that effect, and he's like, I don't care what you think. I'm responsible.
He's going to
for
be
you.
honest. He's giving it to her straight.
Yeah.
Like when he says about bowling, so it's been proven it's very unlikely to get to get pregnant at a bowling alley.
Yeah. Or something like that. And then his girlfriend has been wanting to get married and have kids this whole time.
Mm-hmm.
And then finally by the end, he's like, why didn't we do this earlier? And she's like, oh my God, I want to murder you.
Yeah. I think it just took him to realize that I think he was afraid. I think there's a part of it that, you can read into as you get older. He knows he loves his freedom, but he knows he hasn't amounted to much. Although I will say, this, that apartment across from Wrigley Field, he's making some good money. Like nowadays, that's an expensive piece of property to have in the Chicago area to be across from Wrigley Field. He could have, if he owned that, he's making millions of dollars if he sold that. But anyway, so I think he realizes that he hasn't grown up to be much. And he's afraid that if he has kids, they're going to grow up to be nothing because of him. So I think there's this real, he bullshits that I don't need to, I like my freedom. I like to be able to just put my golf clubs in the car and go play golf or bowl or whatever. At the end of the day, it's a fear that he realizes he hasn't amounted to much. And he doesn't want to bring kids into the equation and let them down and then them not amount to much. But then he realizes that actually he's the most suited person for it. Because his brother's doing better than him. His brother doesn't even know when his fucking kid's hockey's over with or what to get him for his birthday. Meanwhile, he's making pancakes the size of fucking Buicks and knocking out drunk clowns, which I fucking love.
And protecting protecting Tia from that shitty bug. Yep. You had mentioned something about before cell phones. And I love all of the times that he really wants to go to the racetrack, and he's always out kind of trying to protect Tia, and he has to bring the little kids, and it's hilarious. Their conversations.
They're great. Yes. They're little adults themselves. They're just little adults in car seats.
They are. That's why it's funny. But Buck, they're driving around looking for Tia. How did he know where this party in the woods was? He just comes upon it.
Because Buck's been to that party in the woods.
I guess.
This isn't Buck's first time. He knows where people are partying. Where dad is probably more straight-laced. Buck is definitely, he smokes, he drinks. Like, Buck has had his time. He knows, he's been a fun guy. He even said that.
Doesn't he ask some people?
He might. I forget yet. Does
that was at the party. There was a house party, which was even funnier. He's like, got his cigar, and then he gets somewhere along the line, he gets a beer.
Right.
He's like, you guys know Tia, you guys know Bud. He's like drinking with him, and they're like, what the fuck's going on here? Yeah.
Oh, God, I love Buck. God, I love Buck so much. I forgot how much I really like this movie.
He's a great, Well,
and the clown.
Oh, go ahead with the clown.
The clown. Mike Starr, who plays the clown, he's in Goodfellas. Yeah. He's in a ton of stuff. Because I actually had to look him up because obviously I could recognize
the voice was familiar. You're like, wait, I think I know this voice.
Yeah, I was like, I know that guy, so I had to look that up. But
his mouth is, I could kind of tell from his mouth.
He's one of those character actors. He's been in Dumb and Dumber. He's in loads of stuff, isn't he? But sorry, that was just.
But my favorite part is it's just this direction. Is he gets punched and he goes back out of frame, but comes back into frame to get punched.
And get punched again.
It made me laugh. I forgot how much fun. I forgot the clown until he shows up in the mouse car. I remember what was about to happen. And I laughed like I did back in 1989 where I thought it was hilarious. He's just punches him and he goes backwards and the comes right back, almost like a weeble wobble.
It was like a clown.
Yeah, he's
inflatable.
Right back forward.
There were a few shots like that.
A drunk clown, though,
Oh
classic.
God, it was so good. It was so much fun.
They don't do that anymore. Like when he gets hit by the bowling ball, there's a few times where they do that. It's in like a style of the 80s in comedy that we don't really get anymore.
But a good one too. It wasn't.
Yeah,
it didn't feel like old. It was just a nice trope that lands. It's a good comedy bit that lands, as opposed to the old kicking the nuts. That's always funny. But certain things like pies in the face aren't funny unless they're in the context like older films. Like you can watch the Three Stooges do it and it's hilarious because it's of a time and you just love it. But if I was watching Adam Sandler hit Rob Schneider in the face with a pie, I'd be like, what the fuck are we doing? This is 2025. You know what I mean? It's just. But this Uncle Buck thing, this punch in the face, go back and come back, it works. It would work now in a movie if we saw that. Yeah. You'd laugh your ass off because it's just really good comedic timing. And oh God, John Hughes, and he's dead too. God damn, we lost both Johns.
Yeah. They are.
Yeah, that's why America's gone to shit.
Yeah, we need John Hughes and John Candy back. You're the only parent Scott, what parenting, like if this movie were made now, what are like some parenting trends that Uncle Buck would like
Ooh.
butt up against today, do you think?
Jeez. I mean, it's funny. Him attacking the teacher is very reminiscent of what things happen today, but he had a very good reason for it, right? Like she was being overly dramatic with that principal about a 6-year-old. Nowadays, kids aren't responsible for anything. And so now it's like the parent will ask you, what did you do? What did I do to cause your student to try to stab someone with scissors? I don't know. You're a psycho. I don't know what you want the answer to be. So it would be different. Would the kids would they do anything fun if this movie was made today? They'll be on their iPhones or playing video games, right? Like Uncle Buck would probably be getting into trouble. He's probably doing drugs in the bathroom.
It would be it would probably be like the reverse.
He'd be at the race.
Yeah.
He'd go to the racehorse. He'd be like, look, kids, here's some TV, here's some games. Good luck. I'm going to be going to play the horses. It would be a different movie today. I don't think it would work. I mean, I'm sure we could move it, but would it have the heart? Would it have the story that we need for today? You know, would we get the message at all? Because everyone's all the time. Like it literally is a screen epidemic that is ruining kids. Like it's this generation coming up. I try to warn my students. I know I'm still old man shakes fist at sky, but with AI and robotics that are advancing at lightning speed, if students don't have skills, they are going to live with their parents for forever. And that's really the truth. They have no skills. A lot of things are going away. I would call fallback jobs, right? Working at Walmart or working at a grocery store, anything that has like a register nowadays is being replaced already by either self-checkout or going to be replaced over here in America, at least. McDonald's in California is already testing out robots with AI. So you'll need 3 people to work there, the manager to make sure no one robs the joint, and then some guy who can fix robots and maybe a programmer. And that's it. So if you don't like school and you quit, what are you going to do? And kids these days don't want to do hard labor. So they're not going to join somebody's plumbing or, they're not going to go do the old blue collar work because they don't actually want to do labor work. So this film would be different. It'd be a lot different. It'd be like Uncle Robot Buck or something like that.
Like trying to get Insta famous or, whatever.
Yeah. And,
TikTok
probably Tia's probably trying to do that. And then we get some boyfriend who's trying to get her to OnlyFans or something like that. You could probably move it that way. You probably could, but yeah, I mean, even with Buck, would we allow, he wouldn't just be able to walk into a school. It would be a different type of film. And I just don't think it would still have the same heart and comedic timing that Uncle Buck in 1989 did, because it's one of those last few generations where you're a latchkey kid, where you going outside is something you do. Going places like Chuck E. Cheese, or I don't know if they have the equivalent over in the UK, but going places with your, like bowling with your family was something you did. Like it was a thing we always did. Like you go out and you want to do things. Being stuck in the house wasn't, if you're stuck in the house, you played a few video games, but you watch movies and, you play with your toys and your friends. And that's not the thing kids want to do anymore. They just want to go home and play video games and they just want to stay on the screens. And so the fun that we get from the film of them going places, even kids don't, which I guess is probably a good thing, they don't sneak out to try to drink much anymore. Like it's just, everyone just stays home. You know what I mean? Everyone's social without being social. They're on social media, but they're not actually interacting with one another. And so it would be a different kind of movie. Like Uncle Buck wouldn't have to go far. He'd use his find a phone.
You would, because
find her in a minute. Yeah, she would be able to sneak out anywhere.
Hilarious. Yeah, you wouldn't have to drive around in that car to try and find her in the woods.
And mall generation's gone away. Right? I think we were the last generation, at least in America. I know it's a more of an American thing. We're the last of the mall generation, really. Maybe millennials, maybe some. Probably some millennials, but after that, there's the mall culture is going away. Everyone shops on Amazon. I mean, the malls are starting to disappear. So I
didn't even have mall culture growing up. I mean, I didn't live in a city that had like a mall. Like that was the thing I did.
Can't spell mall, so Steve. It's they have corn and that corn and Jesus. I'm just kidding.
I loved watching movies, but I didn't like hang out at the mall. Yeah, because I just didn't live in a big enough city to have like a cool mall like that. But
even malls. That's has gone away. You know what I mean? Like the culture that we see in the film of students and the teenagers and even the young kids, it's almost like we're on Mars now on the opposite side. Like kids these days don't have any idea what that is like. So it would be I mean, you know what? If someone could make a new Uncle Buck and make it as good and relatable as today, they should win the Academy Award because that is a stretch, right?
Right.
Like some parents going to flip out about, you're trying to make my kid fat with all these pancakes. Like someone's going to have an issue with something like that. Like, depending where it's shot, that lady walks in, maybe there's a homeowner with a gun, she gets shot. She walks in, Uncle Buck's got an AR-15.
The neighbor, I mean, he's smoking everywhere. I noticed that. Yeah,
he would be vaping now. Yeah. That's what it'd be a big vapor.
I love, speaking of the smoking thing, he's like, I used to smoke cigarettes. I'm on a 5-year something. I used to smoke cigarettes and now I smoke cigars. And then after this, it's going to be a pipe. And then it's going to be
chewing
the
tobacco.
Gum. And
then the gum.
Like, chewing tobacco, then the gum, yeah. I'm on a 5-year plan, yeah.
He just keeps going down from like the worst thing to,
And she's just looking at him like horrified.
I think she's also like, you have a 5-year plan, but it's about smoking. What's your 5-year financial plan?
There was not a ton of trivia that I found about this movie, but the exterior of the house was an actual house, but the inside was like all of the sets were built in a school gym, including their home. Like their home was a set built in a school gymnasium. That
is such good lighting. I know this sounds kind of put on my beret and smoke a cigar, but because you can, when you see a set on a TV show, they're on a stage. Like you can just feel, even no matter what the lighting is, you just know. But for this, if you had told me that, if I would have guessed 100% that was in someone's home and they just, they rented it out for whatever amount of time they needed to shoot, I would not have said that was a set. That's really well lit. They did a great job of making that feel like that was in the suburbs of Chicago. I would have 100% guaranteed.
Looks like you're inside. You get that feel that you're in someone's home.
I thought so too.
Yeah.
So there's some lost in translation. You know how they rename movies for other countries?
Right.
Alternative title, Alone with Our Uncle.
Ooh,
I don't like that.
That sounds pretty sinister.
Yeah, it does.
Nowadays it's a horror movie.
Yeah,
in 1989, no big deal.
I don't know what countries, but I think that got lost in translation and back the reverse.
Alone with Our Uncle. Just couldn't just say Buck or just Uncle? That's weird. Alone with our Uncle.
I missed it, I think, but I guess there's the freeze frame of John Candy in the ending scene is also used in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Yeah, I remember.
I'm gonna have to take note of that when I watch Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Now, did Winona Ryder ever be in any one of John Hughes movies, or does he have a thing with her? Because this could just be pure coincidence, but I noticed the elementary school's name was Winona.
I noticed that too.
I was like, that's gotta be something like Winona. Like that's like a very specific name, right?
Scott, that is hilarious that you brought that up.
I just thought that today.
Winona Ryder was the first choice for the role of Tia.
Oh, look at that, huh? Every now and again, the old man brings something up.
He had seen
I didn't even notice that.
John had seen her in Beetlejuice the year before.
Oh.
But she was working on Heathers, so she was unavailable for this.
I think she did the right thing.
Yeah, and I think the girl played Tia was great. I think she, that may be the only role she ever was really known for, that we all remember. I thought she was really good as this bratty.
I did too.
Holy cow.
I thought she was horrible till the last 5 minutes, though.
Yeah, but that's a good role, right? It's like Ratchet, where you're like, fuck this bitch. I hope they throw her out the window. And then you're like, man, that's a really good acting job. If I have a visceral feeling about an actress, I want her dead on set. You're like, you're doing a great job, ma'am.
His other muses were also considered, I guess, for that role. Ali Sheedy and Molly Ringwald.
Oh, makes sense.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Could have seen that.
Yeah.
Rick Moranis turned down the role of the dad.
You know what? He would have been underused in that.
Not much of a role, is it?
Yeah. That makes sense. That's just, you need someone because you want everyone to remember John Candy. Who cares about the dad, right? Because John Candy,
point.
You don't be like, oh, wait, was Rick Moranis going to pop back in here at any time? Or, like, what if Bill Murray was the dad? You're like, is Bill showing up any moment? Because we can have a little comedy here.
However, Steve Martin was also considered for the dad.
For
the dad,
Christ,
not Buck.
Waste.
For the dad, I know. But
I guess they'd have got done more with it if.
Right, you're right.
Yeah,
you're right.
Yeah,
you know what? There could have been a fun tongue-in-cheek moment about Planes, Trains, and Automobiles if he was the father there for the walk-on role. That could have been fun. You're right. That could have been fun.
literally every actor under the sun, it seems, was thrown around for the role of Buck. Like literally, like Bill Murray, Jim Belushi, Dudley Moore, Danny DeVito, Dan Aykroyd, George Wendt, Michael Keaton, Ed O'Neill, Robin Williams, Jack Nicholson, Joe Pesci, Tom Hanks, Kurt Russell, and I took note of this. Kurt Russell and Martin Short were considered, and which is weird. They were in Captain Ron together. But
Joe Pesci, a short Italian, like, hey, just
let's go to the racetrack.
hey,
Okay.
hey, listen, you ever see a fucking hatchet, huh? You little piece of shit. That'd have been great. Joe Pesci's the best option because it's the difference, right? John Candy's 6'4", 350. Joe Pesci's 2'2", 212 pounds. You know,
DeVito too. Like he was one that was considered.
And did you say Dudley Moore?
Dudley Moore.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Wow.
Kurt Russell seems out of place. How does Kurt Russell
agree.
as Snake Plissken becomes?
He's too
Mr.
handsome.
Mr. Reliable.
He
Though,
is
and
Mr. Reliable.
It'd have just done it, wouldn't he? It'd have been great. Yeah, I can't see it,
But I can see him as, like the Jack Burton irresponsible, fun uncle kind
good
of
point. Yeah.
True.
something like that. But there was one actor that they were pretty seriously considering, and he's very similar. I'm curious if you guys can guess it. They were going to actually, John was considered for another one of this actor's roles, but died before he could do it. So the role I'm referring to is from
Is it Dom
1994.
DeLuise?
No.
Oh. Is it Louis? Who's the other heavyweight guy named Louis? What's his last name? He just recently passed away. Well, it's clearly not because you would have already told me. That's him.
It's not him. It's not him. But he was in
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Coming to America.
Yes,
Louis
yes.
Anderson
Louis
is
Anderson.
who you're thinking.
Louis Anderson.
It's not him, but it is a heavyweight guy.
It's not Dom DeLuise. So it's
He
another
was in
heavyweight
the
guy.
number 2 TV show from 1989.
To what? Cosby. To
Oh, John Goodman.
John Goodman.
No?
Oh,
Mhm.
okay. Yeah, because he's
Yeah.
heavy set that time.
Mhm.
You know, he
Yeah.
might have been. He
Yeah,
probably would
he's
have done a
good. He's
good job.
Another
but
reliable guy. That
I don't think any of the people we've named, outside of maybe some funny things that could have
Right.
changed, I don't think anyone's better than John Candy. And I
Mhm.
I just think that was the right role. I think John Candy was the
100%.
right perfect person. for it.
100%. There were TV shows. There was actually
I did see
two
this.
TV shows. Did you guys know that?
I only knew because I was looking it up today. I was like, holy shit, they made an Uncle Buck TV show? Like, holy cow.
Two of them. One of them in 1990 that was on CBS, and it starred Kevin Meaney as Buck, a slob who drinks and smokes. I don't even think I know who Kevin Meaney is. But then there was a more recent one with like famous people in it, a 2016 version on ABC. It was an adaptation with a black cast with Mike Epps playing Uncle Buck.
Oh, Mike.
James
Again, I
Leisure
still
and
think you
Nia
need
Long.
someone heavy, right? You need
Mike Epps.
someone who's,
kind of got a
you know,
similar.
like someone with some stature, a little bit of,
Mhm.
you need to have some weight to them. I think that's what sells the Uncle Buck whole personality, right? Like
Yeah.
it just, he's not taking care of himself too much, but it just, I don't know, that the heavier set, funny uncle, I think that works a little bit better. Not that Mike Epps isn't a funny guy, but I just don't see Mike Epps as, you know what I mean?
Neither of these were successful, and James Leisure and Nia Long, like all three of those are like very well-known black actors, but neither
Mhm.
one of those were successful.
This is, not against, I think I have no problem with that option, but it's a different, we talk about, because Tarantino wanted to redo his last movie being Reservoir Dogs with an all black cast, which changes the entire thread line of what Reservoir Dogs would be, right? Because you're now telling it from a completely different set of circumstances.
Mhm.
The way that I don't want to try to side tangent, but when we're shooting at cops, white people shooting at cops is different than if we have waited till Joe showed. Like there's things that now change the tone of the film when you change the race. So, but does Uncle Buck land the same? Because it's a different experience in the suburbs for black people in America. It's not the
Good
same.
point.
So maybe when you're selling Uncle Buck, one, does a black audience care about the movie Uncle Buck? It's not a story that probably really reaches out to them because it's all white. Is there any black people in Uncle Buck? I
No,
can't remember. Maybe in the bowling alley?
No,
think
there's
there
no
was.
black people in hardly like most of this is actually a criticism.
Oh, is it?
There's just not necessarily Uncle Buck, but now that I'm thinking through
John
John
Hughes
Hughes
films.
John
movies,
Hughes.
there's no black people in any of
Wow,
them.
yeah.
I mean,
So-
Or the 80s, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so now you think, okay, so now we got Uncle Buck. So one, is the story going to land with a black audience? Because now it's what you're selling it to. And is a white audience going to want to watch a story that they know, but it's completely different? Like now it's foreign to them as well.
mhm,
Not that they can't coincide,
right.
but you're expecting Uncle Buck, you're expecting John Candy. And then, nothing gets my guts. Those are big shoes to fill.
Yeah.
Right? Those are just big shoes to fill.
The story isn't super unique. There have been several.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But
That'd
the
be
name, they go,
nostalgia.
we're alone with
Yeah.
our uncle, and they turn into a horror movie, Uncle Buck. And now,
But yeah,
now
you'd be making it as that'd be a nostalgic trip for the
Yeah.
adults, really, more than it
Mhm.
would be aimed at
Yeah.
kids at that time.
I mean, we're going to have to start wrapping things up, you guys. I can't thank you enough for
Thank you for
this.
Letting us
Thanks
come
for
on again
having
and
us.
derailing your show.
No,
Yeah,
I
that's what we do.
love it. What you guys have closing thoughts on Uncle Buck?
I'll let my esteemed gentleman from the UK go first.
Yeah, I mean, it's a classic slice of 80s nostalgia. It's happy people with happy problems. So it's that comforting kind of movie.
That's
There's
a good way
nothing
of putting
too
it.
nothing too edgy, nothing overly raunchy about it. It's a family movie. It's a family comedy, which I'm not sure they even make now. Really.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Can't think
You know,
of
and
any.
I think you genuinely could sit together as a family and watch this, and the adults aren't chewing their nails, thinking, "Oh, here comes that scene," or
Yep.
I mean, even the washing machine scene would just
Mhm.
go over people's. It doesn't matter. It's irreverent. It's not like everyone's going to suddenly be like, the movies. Yeah, we've all sat there with our parents and watched a movie, and suddenly there's nudity or there's
Yeah, it's
something, and everyone
uncomfortable,
feels
yeah.
completely
Yeah.
awkward. I mean, even in like Ghostbusters, there's a scene where a ghost is giving Dan Aykroyd a blowjob. Do you know what I mean? So that you can. There are movies where
That's the
there
80s,
are-
though, baby.
no, but there are movies where there's that awkwardness, and but I
Mhm.
think this is one of those movies where there's something for everyone.
Like Fatal
There
Attraction.
is.
Yeah,
So, you're sitting down with your parents.
hey, yeah,
Cooking up some
exactly. But,
rabbits.
It's a police procedural.
but there's something for everyone in there. You got the little kids, you got the teenager, and you got the adults, and then
Mm.
you got the uncles and aunties. Like,
Yeah.
so yeah,
I'm like, I'm Buck.
something for us too. I am.
Real quickly,
yeah.
though, Steve, to your point about one of the things I had kind of forgotten until you were talking about, there's stuff for the adults. The sequence where he's talking with his girlfriend on the phone, I think, and they have names for her private
Yes.
parts.
Right.
And he's, no, that's what we called your boobs. And then he's like, Felix.
And then we jump to the cat outside. Brilliant. It's the little red Corvette. It's what it is. It's
Mhm.
it's how you make an innuendo without hitting people over the head with a hammer. and
Yeah,
being
that's it,
perverse
yeah.
and disgusting. You can have these fun moments that everyone's going to laugh at, but you don't have to just be like, we're going to say the P word. You just cut to
Mhm.
who let the cat out? We don't have a cat. Get out of here. Just a
Yeah,
great
so-
joke.
It is.
Yeah, so that's the thing about it. There is something for everyone, and it's not uncomfortable for anyone, and it's just a fun time, and that's why it stood the test of time, probably. Because I don't think I've ever met anyone who hasn't seen it and doesn't like it. It's not.
Good point.
Yeah, it's one of those movies that we all sort of. And it's not necessarily nostalgic, because I bet you there's kids who could watch it today and enjoy it.
Mhm.
So yeah, for me, that's just a solid bit of family entertainment, and that's very rare these days. That's no wonder we look back.
Mm-hmm.
Well said, sir. Said indeed.
Anything to add, Scott? Or where
Being
should we
a child
find
of
you
an
guys?
'80s, being a child of the '80s, this is just such a great movie. As I said earlier, John Candy, he's brilliant. The beginning of Macaulay Culkin as a little kid. I know Steve doesn't like him, but he hates kids anyways. But it's like when Steve and I talk about action movies, right? Like you want your movies to kind of move quick. This movie does exactly what it's supposed to. We get to tell a story. We go on a journey, but the jokes keep coming, and it doesn't feel like you're just like, when is this thing gonna fucking end? Like, it just keeps moving from a beat to a beat, funny stuff, innuendos, things here, things there. By the time you're done, you're like, oh my God, that was a lot of fun. You forget how good this kind of movie is. And you start to realize of all the blueprints we've taken in Hollywood, where all we do is now superhero movies out the ass. Why aren't we looking back at movies like this and not remaking them, but taking their beats and their structure and go, now we can try to, this is how you're supposed to make, this is how the sausage should be made for comedies, for family comedies. And we don't do that anymore. And that's kind of a disappointment and a disservice to people because like Steve said, this is the perfect movie for a family. I can show this to my grandkids and not worry about it. And I know if I show it to them young, like Macaulay Culkin, they're going to laugh at the kid stuff and the adults are going to laugh at the adult stuff. And we're all going to have a good time, have some popcorn, and we're all going to be like, great night. Like they'll laugh at he said shit. Like we all did when we were kids. He said nuts and balls. Of course, you're going to laugh. But then when you get to the kiddie part, the adults will laugh and think that's funny. And the kids are like, what do you mean? Don't worry about it. It's the cat joke. You know what I mean? Like that's fun for everybody. And I don't know that you miss the star magnetism of people like a John Candy. We don't have that anymore. We're missing some of these star people who command a scene. Like when you see a John Candy movie, you're like, man, that was fun. Like Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. You go watch that, completely different. Even when he does his little cameo in the end of Home Alone, when he's, the polka band driving her home. He's just great in everything he does. And then, of course, The Great Outdoors with Dan Aykroyd. I mean, fucking such a good, fun time of these movies with an amazing guy. And it's a slice of our youth, but I really feel like it's a missing piece in today's cinema that has not been filled. That no one is filling this void of the comedy that would bring families together to go to a movie together.
It would be refreshing.
You're either watching kids movies, like Disney movies, or or that's it. You're not getting the John Hughes types.
These are low budget movies too. So I don't know why they aren't,
I don't know.
I guess sort of a double thing here where, you did have like School of Rock.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But
and you could almost say Jack Black would be a good Uncle Buck.
That's a great pick right there.
It is.
It
is.
So I think a lot of these comedy guys, they just milked it so quickly. Will Ferrell, Kevin Hart, all these guys, they just milked it so quickly that even they didn't want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
You look at what Will Ferrell's doing now. He's trying to distance himself from. He's trying to spread his wings and do other things because they just milk the comedy thing so much. So yeah.
I guess we don't know because we lost John Candy. But what would he have gone on to do? I don't know. But also this type of person, we don't have obese stars. Very, very. That kind of thing. You have to be very pretty and not really that good of an actor.
Yeah.
Be famous.
I think Bill Murray said something recently in an interview about what funny is. It's not about trying to be funny. It's about playing straight. Being funny is playing straight. And John Candy plays it straight. Bill Murray plays straight. That's what makes them funny. It's when you react to something with some sarcasm, but you're doing it straight. That's why people laugh because you're like, oh my God, that's kind of, like Steve Carell a little bit does. Unless he's doing, the movies with Will Ferrell, they're just losing their minds, and those are funny too.
Yeah.
But everyone's trying to play things for huge laughs or slapstick stuff, and you don't necessarily need to do that. We're going to lose Bill Murray soon. We're going to lose some of these greats, and they're going to be gone forever. And there's no one to fill the void. There is no one to fill that void for that kind of comedy. You know what I mean? At least in America. I don't know. Maybe there's some good English comedians could do it, but American comedians don't feel like we have anybody to fill the void of these comedic actors on screen. That even Jim Carrey's pulled himself away. Again, he was great at all the stuff he does, but we don't have anybody left really who's going to fill these voids of the people who we could have a John Candy or a Bill Murray or Dan Aykroyd. We're losing them because that's not the style of comedy we do anymore.
Right. Actually, I can think of a fair number of, again, they're not young. They're like middle-aged now, but like the Kristen Wiggs and the Kate McKinnons and Amy Poehler, like those kind of, a lot of the women.
Roles much anymore.
I know.
We're losing, because we don't, everyone wants, unfortunately, everyone wants the dick and fart jokes, which they work at times, but not if everyone's doing them. If everyone's doing them, you lose any of the fun that used to be what an Adam Sandler movie used to be, because he was one of the few people who were in that realm of comedy. But if everyone's doing that, then it's just it's the same thing. It's just a retread. Now you're like, oh, who's going to do the best dick and fart joke? And
but then I think also with the climate we're in Hollywood, these movies they don't make enough money.
People are kind of scared to I don't know. Like, it's funny though, because it doesn't, like, this movie it was made for $15 million. The Breakfast Club, $1 million.
That's insane.
Crazy.
Insane.
But that's the thing. These sort of films can't make the money now. That's why we're in the situation we're in with blockbusters and Marvel and all this stuff, is because they need that billion. They want to hit that $1 billion mark,
guaranteed.
And they haven't got them guarantees anymore. Fortunately, they're losing money. So
well, you think that with streaming, we'd be able to at least do it on those, right? Like, if you're going to,
I think people are turning their backs on that bit as well.
Because it's such a poor product coming out in the comedy realm.
But a comedy movie that costs $11 million making $800 million just is not going to happen anymore.
Yeah, you're probably right.
And I think and they can't even make that money with a sure bet now.
Yeah.
Like the Superman movie that's coming out this year. I mean, part of me is I hope it fails so we can bring it down. Let's start making movies that cost less money. We need it, because that's the well's running dry on all them ideas, and you're going to have to sort of start listening to people who've got ideas and stories and stuff. Maybe. I know it's a bit naive of me to think that we could do that, but
I mean, do you really think as a society we're moving towards listening to the smart people, or
no?
I wasn't going there, but
not in America. We fucking.
Well, I just like your point about listening. People that have creative ideas and this and that.
I think the wrong people run Hollywood. I think the wrong people. Yeah. Hollywood should do this. If you're going to run a studio, run it like a football team. You own it, so run it, but put people in place who know what the fuck they're doing. Dallas Cowboys, that's just going to go over Steve's head. Dallas Cowboys have a shitty owner in Jerry Jones, and I hate the Cowboys anyway, so I'm glad they're doing bad. But they always hire somebody who kisses Jerry's ass, and he basically runs it, and he's out of touch with the team. When you have someone who was like in the Patriots, you own it, and you let someone like Bill Belichick run it, and look what the production is. So get someone in there who, can smooze and get money and yada, 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 but know your fucking lane. Let the real people who know what they're doing do the job, and let them create and stay the fuck out of their way. But they don't. They keep getting in the way, and that's why we get terrible product. That's why we remake 20,000 things. Who's begging for any remakes? Thankfully, it was a joke, but they were going to remake American Psycho with Austin Butler. We don't need a remake. It was perfect the way it is. I don't need to see
it.
It ended up being a joke, but at the time, for a while, people were like, there's been talk of Kurt Russell's son reprising his role in a remake of Escape from New York. I don't need an Escape from New York remake. I am happy with Escape from New York as it is. You do not need to remake it. Any of these movies, find something new. Give me something new. What else can you come up with besides Escape from New York? What else you got in your well there? Give me something new.
Yeah. Spend less, but make more.
Yes.
Let people in with some ideas. But, that's a whole tangent, because all the creatives are working in gaming now. They're not working in Hollywood. And so that's another.
That's a good point. Yeah. Oh God, we could talk.
Or they're working in television too. Some of the streaming TV is a lot better than some of the movies we get nowadays. There's just some really good stories being told.
I just think we're in a time of mediocre product, and everyone's sitting at home. Movies are found at the cinema. Films that are critically well received aren't making the money, so they're flops.
Right.
But they're not flops because they suck. They flop because no one's going to the cinema, which is a whole nother thing. But when you've gone to see, you can only watch a caped guy throw someone into a building so many times before it just becomes completely redundant.
However, I would watch a movie for an hour and a half of a guy just picking up people and throwing it. That's his whole thing.
You can do that. You can do that every week. You can do that every week now. But what you can't do is go see films like Uncle Buck. Is my point.
Yes,
Uncle Buck. Yeah, and I like 89. It was. I mean, listeners, if you haven't seen Uncle Buck in a minute, I would consider this your sign to do so because we all need some more
Do
John
so.
Candy in our lives.
Yes.
And
Um,
John
I
Hughes is a
will-
great comedic writer. He really is. I mean,
Agreed.
he has some other issues. Obviously, we've kind of unearthed a little bit, but
Mhm.
his writing is for comedy is it
Impeccable.
really is. Yeah, it feels effortless, right? Like just you're in certain hands of certain directors, writers. It's effortless. You don't even realize how good they are. That's how good they are at it, right? Like you just sit there and you go, you laugh, you go. It's in that after you've watched, it's in that retro. When you go back, you go, holy shit, that's really. I mean, they really nailed this. This was almost ahead of its time. This guy is killing it on all levels, and so yeah. If your listeners definitely give a. I know a lot of people are like John Hughes. Oh my God, it's all those teen movies. Let me tell you what.
Not
Uncle
all.
Buck,
Yeah,
Uncle Buck's
yeah.
pretty fucking
He-
good.
That's kind of where he started his fame, and then he kind of turned a corner with it, with these family ones. But
He
I
got
will-
older. He got
Yeah.
older himself, I guess, and different things became.
More important to him, yeah. Or
Yeah, and
Well,
you don't want to be.
we talked about it in the Breakfast Club episode as to that.
oh, I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah, as there was a couple of events that happened that kind of that was his sign. Probably combination to your point, like he was getting older, but a sign that he started doing this kind of stuff, which I will take it all day, every day.
Yeah.
I'll have your guys' links and stuff in the show notes.
Thank
Is there
you.
anywhere that you want to tell people to go?
For the two podcasts we do together as the Cheeky Bastards, we have the Men of Action, and we have Dropping a Bruce. You can go to the Last of the Action Heroes Podcast Network, which you're also a part of with some of your other shows. That's the
Mhm.
easiest way to probably find us there because our
Okay.
links are there. And then for me, I'm just at the Church of QT Pod. You can type that into any one of the, I don't know, I'll be on Twitter much longer.
Oh, I'm already out.
The blue
I'm
thing.
out.
What's the
I'm
blue
out.
one?
I'm out.
Yeah,
Blue
I just
Sky.
got to
Blue
move
Sky.
tell some
I'm
people
on Blue
out.
Sky,
Blue
yeah.
Sky.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've been moving there. But yeah, other than that, yeah, we drop something every other Tuesday. Basically, is how we do it over for ours. Yeah, first up is the Men of Action, and we are doing sequels from action movies. We're pit two against each other, and there's a theme. And then we are just about to start season 3, the final full season of Dropping a Bruce. So
And we've got the awards ceremony.
yes, that'll
for-
come out on Bruce's birthday, which is in March
Oh.
19th. Yes. And then we
Nice.
start the following.
Our tuxes are pressed
Yes,
and we're
yes.
ready to go.
Yes.
I've got,
I like
got
it.
my
We're gonna-
speech lined up and
Yes.
everything.
We've got a couple of STDs to hand out.
to spread around.
Yes. We've got
Yeah.
24 now. So we're 16 more to go. So we're almost there. But yeah.
Well, if you guys liked this episode, please drop a review. It could be the podcast version of a giant pancake. Consider it that, to bring it back to Uncle Buck. It does help more retro fans find us. So please do that. And until next time, be kind, rewind.